Suns fan here with Cinderin. We have game number 1 of DreamLeague. Back at it again. BetBoom versus Gaimin Gladiators. Cinderin fresh off of a nice flight that you just took. Welcome to Sweden.
So yes, it's good to be back. And what a game to come back to. I think this is probably a couple of pieces here that I was not expecting to see in game number 1 of the tournament. So this is cool stuff. Gaimin Gladiators are throwing some stuff at us here. They're playing their Brood. They're playing a carry Dragon Knight and Dota2. BetBoom looks a little bit more standard for what we saw from them in Dota2, right? But for Gaimin, I don't know if they, they haven't been doing their best lately, which is
the battle begins.
Is not getting first or second every time, right? They're still playing really well, but perhaps they have a little bit of a. They need to find a new identity a little bit in their games, perhaps. That's not to say that they're playing stuff here that they never do, but this does seem a little bit. Would you agree this feels a little bit more like something Gaming would have picked, perhaps half a year to a year ago?
Yeah, I think they're trying to go back to their roots, not picking Pango literally every single game. That's because it's been banned finally. Yeah. But when you play it that often, it feels like it disrupts your flow when it finally gets taken out of the pool. So at the BetBoom Dacha Dubai tournament, Gaimin did struggle literally once the bans started coming for Pango.
Right. They were 5-0 with it, I think, and then they just never got it again.
Yeah.
Also, an interesting stat line from that tournament, I do believe. I think Gaimin Gladiators had the highest average kill participation on their players, which tells you something about their playstyle, right? They should be grouping up a little bit more than other teams if everybody has high kill participation. And by extension, perhaps that was one of their problems there, was that the enemy teams were just outplaying them with numbers in the sense that they weren't taking the fights where Gaimin were making big group ups, but rather just playing the map better. And if you think about how Gaimin's lineup looks here, it seems to try to address that problem, right? That's what the panel were talking about. These are very self-sufficient cores. They're just going to sit and farm a lot. And you might not have to group up as much as maybe you've been doing recently. So,
and there's another stat from that tournament that Gaimin did quite well in. On average, they had the most hair of any team at that tourney as well. I'm not sure if you knew that.
Did they change that for this tournament? Or they?
No, I think they're still number 1.
Okay, they're sticking with that one. Yeah, that's
a lot of flowing locks and whatnot.
Did Ace have the same color as well? I noticed his hair was.
What color was it here? It was pink in
oh, okay.
Dubai.
Yeah, I think it's just fading a little bit.
Okay, yeah, faded pink. Then.
Yeah.
Sure. As, yeah, we get to see Toronto Tokyo playing his Undying, which is, I mean, it has to be his favorite, as First Blood will go to the likes of Celery, who gets the kill onto Miero. That's a bit of a surprising turn of events.
Yeah, not really a kill I would expect to see this early. Pugna can be a very strong position 5 early on, but with just constant harassment. But Dragon Knight doesn't really offer the most in terms of damage output from the carry position. But just the one Dragon Tail from Duracho and a couple of hits was enough. Miero was pressured enough already, and it'll be a nice start for them here, especially considering the CS already well in BetBoom's favor in these side lanes. The Sven with the 13 for 4. Surprisingly for me as well, Timber with a little bit of a lead over Quinn in mid. Maybe that is how this goes in level 1 and 2, and then eventually you get more points in refraction and it gets harder for the Timber to deny you, but yeah,
I think this is par for the course for every BetBoom game that I cast. They win the laning stage, and it's all about will they throw later on. As the Water Rune is taken by GPK on the one side. Who got it here?
To go to Toronto Tokyo, so.
Okay. Well, the perfect hero to get the Lotus.
Yep.
This is, as I was saying earlier, Toronto Tokyo. I feel like he's the one person I think of now with Undying, because he gets like 10,000 HP late game scenarios. He always buys like ridiculous items that you question, like an Ags over something that's more utility, but he makes it work.
Yeah, guess who used to play mid, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
They always have a tell, don't they? They never really lose it when.
That is true.
When you've been a core player and you transition to a position 5, there's always that little bit of.
And what do you think of this patch so far? I mean, not the letter patch, but since you and I haven't cast in a while.
You just mean 35 in general?
Yeah.
I think for the most part, it's pretty all right. I think there's maybe some, which was it's kind of hard to talk about this patch and not talk about like the glaringly overpowered items that were addressed in the last patch, such as Mage Slayer, right? There's been like a handful of items that got too good. I would say Mage Slayer, and for the first time in 200 years, Vladimir's was probably too good. And that was strictly as an item that wasn't upgraded, right? When it was popular the last time was when it was building into Helm of the Overlord, and then that was changed. And but they tweaked the numbers in this patch. It's worse as an aura, equally good for yourself. Nice pressure on to save here from Duracho, and Celery once again has the salve, so we'll be able to stabilize.
And we're actually seeing a Pugna pick, as we'll talk about in just a moment. Inkswell does connect onto Nightfall. We'll be able to walk away, though. But we're seeing a Pugna pick that isn't like necessarily... Typically, we talk about him in the Butler status, where he's giving mana to somebody. That's not really the case here. There's no true mana battery here that can take good use. I mean, everybody would love it, but it's not like there's a storm or something.
Yeah, I think Pugna still has some very powerful utility here. I guess at some point Sven is going to start solving it, but we've seen a lot of Svens starting to grab the Aghanim Scepter as a popular build now.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily work against Pugna. It only works if you stun after Decrep, right? But if you Decrep after, you have a layer of protection against this carry. I would say in general, Pugna just a solid laner, and I think the way Gaimin Gladiators play Dota, it just really fits their style. It's a great group up hero. It's great for getting that. You know, a lot of Gaimin's games are like historically 20 to 25 minutes, right? That's where you're like, okay, Gaimin are well ahead. And this, if you are picking a support that is meant to dominate and take towers, the short list for Celery is Chen, Enchantress, and Pugna, and they banned Chen themselves, which I found a little bit interesting in this one. But I guess, obviously, just by nature of the pick order, that was what was going to happen.
And of course, with this letter patch coming out, some of the heroes have been nerfed, and people, you know, even the players themselves don't really know how big an impact that has had.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see throughout these 2 weeks what they're going to figure out, because as is the case with all of these letter patches, there will always be something new that rises to prominence.
All right, what's your big, bold prediction on this patch?
Do you want a hero that's going to be good?
Doesn't matter. Hero, item, something you're going to eat later, whatever.
Oh.
Get real bold with
Do you want a real bold prediction on what food I'm going to have?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I feel like. Shen and I just arrived. I'm just getting accustomed to the totally different climate from Denmark. Bold prediction. I was not ready for this. I honestly...
I like throwing you for a loop. So
yeah, I don't think we're going to see that big changes in terms of itemization.
Wow, that's really bold. Thank you.
Yeah, but now that you're making me... Okay, what's going to be a big pick? I'll give you a hero.
Okay.
With the nerf to Mage Slayer, we're going to see more...
One of the good ones.
How bold do you want it?
All right, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Pudge Core!
Wow.
Because he sucks against Mage Slayer.
Okay. I'd like to see that.
There you go. That's very
sounds like
bold.
fun. Appreciate you finally answering the question about 3 minutes after I've asked it. Par for the course for you, as we might see a gank here, Toronto, Tokyo, and save.
I'm
Quinn,
really sorry I took a long time during that pause. It was very important.
It's more just the idea. It's the principle that it takes you this long.
That you need to think about a question.
I mean, that was too long, though. Let's be real. We need to bring a timer around, like one of those like those minute glasses in the board games. Just carry that around constantly, and that's... You know, I'm going to start doing that.
Maybe you should do that for your lifestyle, you know? Just carry it around all the time. You're like, okay, I need to decide what I'm going to order today for food. And then you flick it around, and then that's your timer. And if you run out of time, you get no food.
Okay, that's not okay. As GPK, you can see, in terms of net worth, actually pretty even though he had the CS advantage early on against Quinn. As it's a pretty slow game, but I think the panel kind of illustrated this would be the case until these supports get their levels.
Yeah.
Save is level 6, for example, or a little more levels for the Nether Blast on the side of Gaimin.
It also means that stacking should be something quite important in this game for both teams, right? You've got Sven, you've got TA, and when you have very static lanes where not too much is happening, you say that, there's a little bit of a rotation.
Up onto Ace, Inkswell will give him the exit. Very exciting. About 10 damage was done here. Make sure to write about that on Twitter. Highlight that play. Clip it. Clip it and ship it.
But yeah, a lot of the times this is what happens in games with static lanes, especially in this patch, is the supports are stacking a lot. So both teams have great heroes for farming those stacks, and if nothing else is happening, that is where you can start getting yourselves a little bit more of an edge over the opposing team. So look forward to seeing whether it's going to be Quinn or Nightfall getting the better exchange there. I'm assuming they will be giving them all the stacks. Technically, Timber can also farm stacks, but I think it's probably better to really try to ramp up your Sven here so he stands a chance. Because honestly, as far as I'm concerned, this is not a good Sven game. Like, I actually don't think the hero is good against almost anyone. They picked it specifically against Brood because it can stand in lane, which is the one good aspect. But I think he's not particularly great against Dragon Knight as far as I'm concerned. He's very bad against TA. That was the last pick. You're playing against a Grimstroke that can get the shard to dispel your stun. We talked about Decrepify. I think Nightfall runs the risk in this game of getting kited mega hard if he isn't far ahead on net worth. So you really got to make sure to bring him into the game, or if this slow pace continues, I actually just really like what Gaimin are proposing.
I think that just comes down to how BetBoom drafts. They draft the lanes, which is why they win so often, because they win the laning stage. But you can see right now, Gaimin have a 1K lead.
For me, this is a draw, basically. But
even if it's a draw, that's bad.
That's good. That's good enough for Gaimin. I think that's what they need, because their lineup just needs time for all of these three. Essentially, you have a true tri-core here, right? When Brood is your offlaner and for the opposing team, it's Mars. The scaling potential here, as well as the way that the heroes interact, I would say, just in general, Gaimin Gladiators have really good matchups later down the line. So they get through the lanes clearly. BetBoom haven't really shut down either of the cores to any extent. And the supports in Gaimin Gladiators don't really need that much gold to be effective. I think Pugna, with just good positioning, can do a lot this game. Grimstroke, you need the shard. I don't think you need anything else. I look over the BetBoom side, I think their supports are the ones that are going to need items way more. I think playing Shadow Shaman here with no items is going to be horrible. He's going to get run down by any of the cores and get two-shot. The Undying can't really stand his ground against the massive minus armor of TA and just hard single target damage that they're offering in this game. So, yeah, it's a curious game. Like, it's 1 kill 9 minutes in, and it still feels like Gaimin got everything they wanted.
Yeah. But BetBoom haven't grouped up yet. We'll see with that first team fight. And
that the Shadow Shaman level 6 has got to be what starts it, right? Like, you want to have the Serpent Wards and go to a tower.
Yep, I would assume so. I do want to have a very important discussion about our favorite skill that has been nerfed by Valve over and over and over again.
Reactive armor.
It is Grab Ally, of course. The Shard. I know that we're 6 minutes away from this possibility, but the issue is Toronto does not buy it ever, unless it drops.
Yeah.
It has fallen so
And then he still doesn't buy it.
Okay, fair. That's technically true. But this thing is not that bad, is it? Just because you get stunned if you don't come out on time, just time it. Just time it, man. It's the big deal.
I think the problem with it a lot of the time is the way you use Tombstone is... It's very lineup specific. I think in this game it's not good, because I feel like you're not very likely to be in the right position to use it as a save. I think against certain other lineups it could be really good. Like, let's say you're playing as Legion Commander, for example, right? Like, just straightforward, you just hard counter some sort of interaction in the game. Here you could take someone into the Tombstone when they get Dragon-tailed, but it's not getting me the same, like, okay, we countered something, right? Because you always need to compare it to, you can use 1,400 gold on getting half of an aura item on Undying. He's very good at carrying aura.
Or part of an Ags if you're Toronto.
Sure, or you can start scaling. And most of the time, Undying uses Tombstone in a different way, right? You need to be able to justify using Tombstone defensively rather than placing it as part of a play.
Right.
So in order for that to be the case, it needs to be a true, like, very powerful counter to something, or otherwise you're just ending up not using your Tombstone the way you're intending to, right? Mostly, Undying will use it as part of an initiation. You'll just place it down so you start spawning zombies and playing zone control. But if you need to keep it for a save, you don't really know where your hero is going to get jumped necessarily, so then you have to wait.
Okay, incorrect. It's a good shard. Okay. Still, you'll see. That's my big, bold prediction. It will come back in this tournament.
You think people are going to start prioritizing?
That's right. Maybe not 15-minute priority like before.
I actually think my Pudge is more likely, and that's saying something.
This could just be wishful thinking as well. It's
from both of us, but
true.
Okay, if you could choose, if we get more Grab Ally and more Pudge, what do you choose?
Okay, I'd choose Pudge still, probably.
That's right. That makes it a better bold prediction because it's one that makes us happier.
I mean, both are very happy, though. You know, it's fine.
I don't care that much about Grab Ally.
It's blasphemy. GPK picks up a Blink Dagger. This is something that he does from time to time, going for the very early Blink. So that would indicate to me, the plebeian here, that they're going to get more aggressive now with that purchase. The question is, does Miero opt to not go Blink right away? Looks like he's queuing it up right now.
Yeah. Well, they are going to immediately smoke with this Blink Dagger purchase, so they're going to try to make use of it, and they will obviously run into a well-prepared Gaimin Gladiators.
Uh-oh, Nightfall. You don't have time to go through the gate now because a dragon has come for you. Inkswell is there just to ensure that he will continue to be stunned. Tombstone is taken out swiftly in Toronto, Tokyo. Nice and meaty and dead. 2 dead for BetBoom as Gaimin shut it down immediately.
There's that patented Gaimin Gladiators 5-man group up wraparound onto the gate. They used to do this minute 7. They've got a little bit older. Time comes for us all, so now they do it minute 12, but yeah, the end outcome is what we're used to seeing here. Ironically, Grab Ally would have actually been good there. But it's minute 12, so he couldn't have had...
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, so that's a big win for Gaimin. They get 2 kills, they get the tower, and this was also meant to be BetBoom's Blink reveal play, so they also did not get their play going.
Save. Ooh, we'll be able to TP out, though.
So here's my concern. You're buying Dagger on Timber, and you're buying Dagger on Mars as the first item. These 2 heroes will sacrifice scaling potential to have some sort of burst play now. If you don't find a fight within the next few minutes and actually convert this to something meaningful, it's just a net worth loss. And you're already losing on that front. So I kind of feel like this is an uncomfortable situation for BetBoom as a team because they don't really generally play the game this way, but they feel like they're on a timer. I don't think the late game is theirs necessarily. I don't think their supports are having a good enough game to be like, okay, guys, we can compensate for our core's subpar starts by getting some sort of good support play going. Because truth be told, nobody in their team is happy, I think. I don't think anyone got what they wanted out of these first 13 minutes. So.
I mean, to be fair, BetBoom players never really look happy in general. That could just be translated to Dota players in general, probably.
When's the last time you saw them have 0 kills minute 14?
Yeah, it's
they generally win their lanes not only on CS, but also on kill power.
Like, the net worth lead right now is a normal game at the last tournament for BetBoom. If they were in Gaimin's shoes right now.
Yeah.
They were up 4K at this rate very often, but they would like destroy their own lead because of like some Roshan play or something weird. Or they just continue and stomp. But yeah, they typically will not be in the other side of the coin.
I think another problem here is there's going to be an exceptionally challenging moment for the supports coming up now. Pugna level 7 will start pushing the towers together with Brood, and, well, Ace is going to go his standard Brood build. He's not going to go the Orchid. He will just go into carry mode. So he's going to go Echo Saber BKB, and he can effectively just choose a support and kill them.
Yeah.
And they cannot defend themselves whatsoever.
That's the thing about BetBoom's lineup that, or the way that they're itemizing doesn't really make that much sense. I mean, like I said, GPK has bought this Blink first on Timber before, but a lot of times it's with the off lane that can scale a bit. But if you're going to Blink as well on Mars and not going for like some more of a, you know, a catch or damage build, like we've seen them kind of scale into depending on the player. But Miero's not that type of player, right? He's actually more traditional off laner. So it is very weird.
Actually, you know what? You wanted a bold prediction? You can have one now.
Okay.
BetBoom will get fewer than 3 kills this game.
Fewer than 3 kills.
That's my prediction now.
Okay. You guys can be very excited to watch that coming up.
I mean, now the stakes are high. If they do well in one team fight, I'm going to look like a clown.
I mean, you look like a clown pretty often.
It's what
I think you've gotten accustomed to it.
It's what good friends tell each other.
That's right.
That's good.
Yeah, good friends tell each other the truth. That is friendship.
That's right. You smell rancid.
Yeah,
Oh, here we go.
Okay, arena initiation from Miero. Do they have the damage with the Whirling Death? Absolutely. Down goes Dirachi, already 1/3 the way of proving Cinderin wrong.
This ain't good. I mean, I did say it was a bold prediction.
True. Smell rancid as the tier 1 tower now.
Dirachi, you can't do that to me, man. Just a 5-man jump.
It happens.
Yeah.
Miero getting rid of some Spideys. Tier 1 tower still taking damage, but I don't know if they want to commit. And maybe wait for this next wave. Quinn and company. This is a very, very strange stalemate. You don't see this very often.
Yeah, it's just super awkward for the Radiant lineup to go for this. They don't have Serpent Ward ready. They kind of already blew their engagement. Sure, you still have a level 2 Tombstone to drop, but I just don't think it's favorable. Even 5v4, I think you could have lost that fight at the tower. So I think good call from BetBoom to not go. Miero.
Yeah, Inkswell is going to eventually stun him. Some damage coming out from Celery and Tofu. Is it enough? No. Miero will walk away. They're trying to bait some TPs, but none came for BetBoom.
Yeah, tried to take advantage of the fact that he threw the spear there already for farm, but Bulwark, the 1-point wonder, will keep him alive against TA. Things are probably going to go back to this calm state again, and honestly, I'm looking to Roche, right? That's kind of where either team is going to get a truly significant advantage going into any team fight. The question is if BetBoom can get control of that area in general at any point right now. Oh, Celery will get caught.
Yeah, it's just a support, but at this rate, BetBoom just trying to prove Synderen wrong. That's the most important thing of this game. Hex is there.
All right, that's
and
it.
Burst from GPK. 2 kills.
They're not getting more than this, Shannon. That was the last one.
Well, you said more than 3, right?
I said they're going to get fewer than 3 kills.
Oh, you said fewer than 3.
Yeah, it was very bold.
Okay.
It's just I've seen this type of game so many times from Gaimin where the lead keeps growing. They take another tower, they get the Roche, and then they just end. But BetBoom found a couple of good moves here to kind of stem the bleeding a little bit, so that's a good look for them. They're starting to stabilize, I would say. Still, the man on your screen is going to be a major concern. Duracho is kind of left completely unchecked on Dragon Knight, so he's just going to be farming a lot. BSJ was talking about the Manta build, which is going to make it even worse to deal with him. And obviously, once he gets to that level 18 and maybe gets the Ags as well, I don't know if the Ags nerfs are that significant this patch that people aren't still going to just go the exact same build on Dragon Knight. It did get a little bit of a tick down in terms of, I believe it was mainly the slow.
Magic resist as well.
And the magic resist, yeah, you lost 5% there.
Can you, okay, this is just off memory. Can you name the original magic resist that it had? I have a number in my mind. I want to see if you can verify it.
What you got from the Ags?
For the Black Dragon.
I think it was 40.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Very good.
Wait, is it correct because you checked or correct because you remember it the same?
That's how I remember it.
Okay, that does not make it correct. So, if anything, it's probably wrong.
It's correct.
Okay.
You can verify it later, of course. Right. There's a tier 2 tower now at half HP in the bot lane. Drums are popped, but there's the fort from BetBoom.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be mounting a defense for this. They're just trying to buy themselves time to progress, especially on their Sven here, who will be completing the BKB in a moment for Nightfall. And I think it's going to be extremely telling what his next item is here, because I would find this an exceptionally difficult game to itemize on Sven. Are you going to go for the Axe route? Are you going to go Nullifier because you kind of have to against the Pugna? Or are you going to go, I don't know, just some sort of Rost and your ground build with AC so you can tank the Brood and the TA at the same time? Like there's plenty of considerations to be made here. And so far, he's going to split his Echo, I believe.
Yep, smoke from Gaimin. Toronto Tokyo is going to be the one to tank it. Will he get his ult off in time? Nope. He's silenced to start things out and just drops very fast. 4-2 advantage for Gaimin with a 5k lead. A lot of farming going on in this game.
Yep. And this mid-tier 2 tower is gone. And I think Gaimin probably just going to look to Roche after this, right? Now it's daytime. You can make a natural movement down toward bottom. You already have TA traps placed. It's a wonderful place for Brood to play with all the Spideys. So yeah, I would expect them to probably make that as their next play here. You could also keep controlling the enemy triangle and just ramp up even further on the farm and maybe look to the top tier 2, but the amount of time it's going to take you to get there toward that tower with the top wave pushed all the way toward your own one, probably not worth it. So I think start controlling bottom area and look to that Roche would probably be the idea.
You know, I talked about this at the last tournament with Kezu. The fact that when you're Radiant and you're leading, maybe this is one of the reasons that Radiant is favored. You typically will be able to, around this time, take that tier 2 bottom and go for their Tormy. But from the Dire side, you don't really see that very often. It's much less, as we're going to see A smoke now from BetBoom.
I think what Dire need to convert on in the same fashion is to get the Roche during daytime, right? Like that's
Scanning.
it's not really a fair comparison because, you know, Roche is also top half the time, so it kind of is about the time of day and what lineups you have. But I would say a lot of lineups like to kill Roche 20 to 25, even if they don't have a perfect Roche killing lineup like Huskar or whatever. Or Ursa, of course, which nobody plays.
Of course, great hero. Ace, he's going to pop the smoke. Going to get sheeped into the spear. The Serpent Wards are down as well. GPK comes in. The BKB does not do enough for him. Ace drops to the deck as Nightfall focusing on the Dragon, and there's the arena to segregate him from the rest of his team, and he's going to be taken out. So Cinderin is horribly wrong with his horrible bold prediction, just terrible casting as always, as BetBoom double kill for Nightfall, and into the pit they go.
That was effectively the perfect way they could have initiated that. They found the Brood far enough away from the Grim that they didn't have an instant dispel into BKB. If Ace was in range in this situation, I think this would have turned out horrible, but they see him go toward that camp. Here comes the Inkswell, but it's too late. He's already dead when he comes out of it, doesn't get a hit off with the Insatiable Hunger, and Dyrachyo caught in awkward limbo afterwards. Nice arena coming in from Yarrow to get that extra kill. So very nice timing from BetBoom. Slightly better positioning from Gaimin Gladiators, and that could have been a different story. But now, all of a sudden, guess who got the Roche? Now we have ourselves way more of a game than I was expecting 15 minutes in.
Yep.
And BetBoom will... I'm not going to say they're out of the woods yet, because I still think the itemization is going to be really, really crucial. But they at least buy themselves the time to get there. GPK got his Ags leading into that fight, so he's way tankier. Mars is eyeing up a Hex as his next item. That's going to be... It's not like super uncommon, but it is an interesting choice in this game when he could have potentially, you know, focused on some physical auras against the triple physical damage core the enemy team have, but they're not doing that. I think it's probably going to be Undying's job after his wonderful 2 Wraithband build. And Nightfall is considering the Ags, at least. He hasn't committed yet, I think. Oh, he has now. Okay, he does have the point booster. So it will be the Ags.
BetBoom will finally get the tier 1 tower, and let's see how many towers they can take with this Aegis still intact for Nightfall.
Yeah.
I mean, what should be their goal? All of them? Is that realistic?
I don't think so. You're still struggling with just pushing out the lanes, right? As BSJ was talking about, that's going to be a thorn in their side the entire game. There's going to be TA traps, there's going to be Dragon Knight Manta pushing. The supports on the enemy team are really good at pushing waves. Broodmother Spiders can zero commit push. So I think if they can maybe get the top tier 2, I think that's good enough. It's going to be hard to access any of the other towers because of the better terrain advantage Brood has in those areas, and how good TA is going to be there. You can also see the mindset from Gaimin, right? They're not trying to defend it, but they're very well prepared if it comes to invasion of their own triangle. They've got like 4 traps around there. But maybe they won't expect this one, because Nightfall just showed top on his Sven, and he immediately transitioned into a smoke with his team.
Yeah, they're shadowing Ace here. Nightfall actually takes the bounty. Ace might have seen that. Oh. Spear will miss. Literally might have been the bounty rune. Scouting it out there as Ace still on the high ground, but there's the arena on to basically just Tofu. They get the kill, he gets the soulbind out, but the control onto Mr. Quinn is enough. Way too much damage to come through as Dyrachyo now left in a 1v3 scenario, gets speared to a tree. He's quite tanky, but not enough for this to matter. As triple kill for GPK comes through, and it's a 3-for-1. BetBoom still with the Aegis, and they only lose Undying.
I've got a new bold prediction.
Okay.
BetBoom are going to get more than 10 kills.
Okay. Does Gaimin get more than 5?
Let's see how much power I have if BetBoom just completely crumble.
Yeah, you really do have a caster curse.
Now, you have one with BetBoom. Whenever you believe in them, they fail, and whenever
But it's when I believe in them before the game, or don't believe in them before the game. It's not during the game.
Oh, you don't have any powers?
You have something about in-game calls from you. Just incredible.
Right.
Really impressive. Should use that in
What
Vegas
if I
sometime.
purposefully make really bad predictions to bait?
No, it has to be real. It has to be genuine.
How do you know that it's genuine?
I mean, you know. And I can tell, of course, because we know each other very well.
Okay.
Very good friends.
Yes. And friends tell each other the truth.
That's right.
The lead down to 1K, all of a sudden. The first time BetBoom are looking to potentially close in on an even gold game, but the Tormentor will, of course, slow things down.
Spear connection.
Free Tofu
Find
here.
another support.
Little snack.
Nightfall's coming just to get some XP. I'm sure that's why they waited for him. Very important.
It will actually end up being the mid-tier 2 tower they claim instead of the top tier 2, unless maybe with this glyph, it's not out of the question that Gaimin could try to stall them with some plays here, but doesn't look like they want to take the risk. They're looking for a trade of their own. Celery pushing in top, trying to maybe get some cheeky damage on the tier 2, but he's spotted out immediately.
Yep, good luck running away from Boom Boom time. That Aghanim himself. Okay,
Nice
it's
talent.
not a stun, so.
Oh, great prediction, Shannon.
Okay, good. Good luck. Hey, I gave him good luck.
Oh, yeah, true. Actually, you
It worked. They need to add a stun to the Boom Boom, I think. Very important. Nightfall. It's going to run into Quinn here relatively soon, but Quinn has the blink. The shard from the Tormy did go to Dyrachus, who has that fireball. Tofu already bought his, and Quinn already buying his as well. So 3 on the side of Gaimin, and 0 for BetBoom. 0 shards.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Which does mean Undying could get it. Whereas if they had 3 shards, he could also get it, because he would not have bought it. So
That's right. He can always get it.
how many Gossamer Capes do they have? 1, 2... They have 2. Okay. That is the neutral item against TA.
Oh,
Honestly.
yeah.
It is.
No doubt.
It is a very interesting interaction. Okay.
That's a dead Pugnat. No Butler action for a little bit. Dead for quite a while. Is that a dieback? That feels pretty long. He didn't. I don't think anybody's bought back this game.
Celery's level 13. Doesn't that seem about right? I think so.
Okay, fair enough. You can see BetBoom amalgamating towards this area right now. They no longer have the Aegis.
And as much as we talked about Gaimin Gladiators' perspective of just snowballing this game out of control, we didn't really cover the aspect of, okay, well, what if something goes wrong here, right? Because effectively what was likely to happen was that they would have had a 10k lead now off of their early advantage if they had taken one good fight and got the Rosh. That moment at bottom where they end up losing 2 heroes and the Roshan allows BetBoom to start controlling the map in this fashion where you're still going to be struggling a little bit with the wave clear, but you are finding some opportunities to make moves, and even if it's just the supports they kill here and there, at the very least they keep the flow of the game go, oh, this would be a big one. This is
Quinn, he's spotted farming in the jungle, and he is going to be swiftly taken out. Very easy kill for BetBoom, but on the sideline, Toronto Tokyo is taking damage from Ace with the pop of the BKB, trying to focus all his efforts onto the Undying, but the mech comes through, and Ace forced to TP out. Dyrachio now trying to finish the job that his support started, but he's going to get speared into the trees, and Toronto Tokyo lives while 3 die for
more than
Gaimin.
10 kills.
Good lord.
Yeah, I knew it.
He loves this hero, man. I talked about it. He always just putting himself in such good position to just tank all that damage, and they still can't come out with the kill from the Gaimin side.
Gossamer Cape, baby.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's a
Made
good one.
all the difference. Probably kept him alive, actually.
I would assume so. That was pretty close.
All right, well, time for Gaimin to give up a lane of Rax, I
It
think.
looks like that might be the case. Serpent wards are placed. There's the fort, though. Counter fort from BetBoom. Oh, we have the initiation. They actually find the spider. Soulbind's not going to do anything. Tofu's forced back. And it's just the 2 supports alive for the time being for Gaimin, which means it will indeed be a full set of racks for BetBoom. Well, the fort comes out. Quinn could try to fight theoretically, but it is 3 versus 5.
Yeah. Celery not nearby there for a Decrepify either after the Svensson came through, just not in position. They were relying on Tofu's Dispel as the only one, and it's just not enough when Ace doesn't have BKB ready. It was on cooldown from the previous fight up top, so they get an extra freebie there and start all of a sudden. I'll say, I mean, sometimes you look at a game and you just have an idea of what's going to happen and it's wrong. I feel like this should just flat out not have happened. I'm curious what the panel are going to have to say afterwards. Whether or not BetBoom win this game, just this span from 15 to 25 minutes, something about it just feels off for me. Like, it feels like peak Gaimin Gladiators, this doesn't happen to them, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep, Quinn, they're trying to
seems a little bit...
get their lead back here as Nightfall is forced back with that BKB. We'll just try to TP out Toronto Tokyo.
so tense.
He's going to get stunned mid-TP, and I think they finally get the Undying.
Yep.
And they did force the BKB out of Nightfall, so that's something.
Yeah, and they get their triangle back. They need this area. They need to have it all the time. TA wants to play it, of course, and...
What the? What?
Oh, he has a BKB.
BKB for save.
He is huge. He's 1-0-10. This hero is, I will say, very difficult to not die on in general. It's a very high-risk hero that's very positioning dependent, and a lot of the time will sacrifice itself to set up a good fight condition, but hasn't died. So he's just kept it rolling with the gold, and damn, he has 10,000 net worth, minute 31. And I believe...
I'm trying to remember the last time I've seen a BKB. I mean, he's just trying to... Lion was banned, and all it takes is a shard to get a BKB for him.
Yeah.
So this is the way you play Shadow Shot. You buy the entire BKB.
Yeah, it explains why Lion is favored, because he can buy a BKB for 1,400, and this guy buys it for 4K.
Yeah. But your Hex does more damage, right? It amplifies damage.
There are some slight asterisks about the advantages of these items versus each other, of course. Lion has to be sucking to get the BKB effect.
Yep. Oh, Lion sucks all the time, though, I'm pretty sure. GPK, he's going to get stunned outright. Mira looking for a good opportunity for an arena. He gets only onto Ace, who pops the BKB, but it kind of segregates the rest of Gaimin Gladiators' lineup. But the BKBs pop galore for BetBoom, as Ace still stuck inside. They're going to be able to delete the Pugna, but buys back instantly. But now the focus on the Nightfall getting extremely low. The right clicks from Quinn are enough. Down goes Nightfall. Save does pop his BKB. Gets a really long shackle, but it's not really going to matter too much as Doraccio now, he's triple teamed right now. Another 1v3 for him. Do they have the damage? But no, the sucky suck from Celery. The Butler keeping him alive. And now the mass TP attempt from BetBoom. They get out with 2, but they lose 3 and Roche eventually.
This is exactly the type of fight I was envisioning 15 minutes ago if Gaimin had this kind of setup for it, right? Where their heroes are in position, they get their stuff off, and they get to just ruin Sven's fight. I think Nightfall got about as much out of that as he could have by just jumping and killing Pugna, because he can't go on anyone else. If he goes on any other target, they just get decrepified, and he couldn't fight the Brood. Brood just has insatiable hunger running, he's just trading. Ace with a very right-click heavy build, right? Harpoon as well as Sanjin Yash, and he has the Vindicator's Axe as well as his neutral item, so it's just too much for Sven to chew through at this point. And again, it makes it debatable, like how good is the Scepter on Sven this game? He does kill the Pugna, which is nice, but perhaps if you had a little bit more staying power, maybe this is different, and you can actually, with an AC instead of that slot, perhaps you can stand better and fight back, or... I don't know if anybody would ever buy Manta against TA on Sven in this situation. I don't know if that would be good.
That would be really weird.
But I mean, it just goes to show that it's difficult, right? I'm sure he has no build here that he's like, okay, this is the one I feel great when I have these items. Usually Sven has that build in the game, but yeah, the matchups are rough. And
so far, the team that has been down in net worth is getting the Aegises.
Yep.
Will that continue? Will this trend continue in DreamLeague?
Are you looking for another bold prediction?
Yeah.
What's Glyph on J? Sorry.
Isn't that the default?
Sorry to call you out.
That's default.
Is it actually?
I think so.
Did I rebind it?
I think I've never used.
Who doesn't have Glyph on J? Aside from me.
Yeah, that's the real question.
All right, that's my bad. I didn't actually know it was J.
I could be wrong, though. I like how any time I say something, you just assume it's right, and it's just coming straight out of my ass.
Where is it? You can see your hotkey for Glyph. I'm looking for it right now.
Wait, actually, I'll look, too.
Yeah, I do.
I know I've never changed.
I have it on G. It's G for Glyph.
All right, where is it?
Just like it's J for GIF.
All right, I'm into that, actually.
There you go.
I appreciate that. Correct pronunciation. Oh, what do you think of the Roshan's banner? It has been quite underwhelming. The only time I've seen it actually be pretty crazy is when it was Gaimin creeps. You know what a Gaimin creep is?
Yeah, it's a mega creep with banner.
That's right. And they are absurd.
Very big boy. I think I feel like it's the same when we've asked the pro players, right? They have a hard time placing this item. It's not as in physically putting the flag
well,
down.
I think they have issues with that too.
Yeah, maybe, but I think most of the time you just put it in your own base, right? Or close to your own base, so it's hard to kill, and then you either use it... So in this case, for example, Gaimin Gladiators could put it in the top lane to offset the fact that they're down the lane, right? Then that's like a 5-minute timing that top lane will do way better in terms of just natural pushing. If you're doing a split push play into the enemy base where you're going to push one side and you want the creeps to put pressure on the other side, you can do that. That's going to be difficult here specifically because they've lost a lane. So they would have to put the banner bottom and then push top. They could do that.
I feel like
most of the time the teams just throw it down.
The times that I've seen it, when you don't have any racks, it does basically nothing, I feel like. But you're down a racks now, so maybe it's worth... I don't know how that combats like the super creeps, for example, but it's an interesting concept. I'm sure they'll iterate a bit as time goes on.
I mean, it's one of those things where if it's clearly underpowered, you can just give it different values, right? The concept could still be interesting. Maybe it could also give the creeps armor and magic resist, you know, just something to.
I mean, do you think
make
that it would
wiping them out
would it
slower.
even be OP if it just wasn't killable? Like, would that be overpowered?
Oh, the flag itself?
Yeah. Like, I don't know why that mechanic even exists. You know, like, what if you're just upgrading your racks, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I could kind of see that. I don't know if you necessarily need to be.
I mean, I think they put it in as like a, you know, they don't want to make it too overpowered or anything, which is understandable.
It's very much early days for that item, I feel like.
We'll
I
talk
think
about it again in a year.
It's going to go two ways. It's either going to get removed, which nothing ever does anymore.
Yep. Okay.
That's untrue. Or I think they're fundamentally going to change. Like, it's not only going to give health and armor. I think it's going to do something else. All right, sorry.
And
health
maybe it just
health
wins the
and
game for you then.
No, but like, okay, hang on.
Yeah, you better hang on. Dyrachyo, he's a dragon!
He's 3 dragons. Which one is real? Is it the one doing 0 damage or the one doing a lot? Well, they may never know because they don't see the real one. This is what Brian said. When Dragon Knight gets Manta, you never see
Oh,
it
yeah.
again.
Is under attack.
That's right.
There it is.
Good old terrain walk.
Yep.
Backdoor protection's there, though, so Illusion will do a little bit.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But yeah, the hero has become...
No, great. No,
It's interesting because the Ags original, I was like, oh, this is really cool. It's a black dragon. Who doesn't like a black dragon, you know?
Yeah.
But it's
Is
turned
that
into
your
like...
favorite unit in Heroes 3?
Maybe.
Did you play that game?
No. I'm just saying, yeah, to end this conversation.
You're actually old enough to you could have played that game and you did
Are you
it.
talking about Heroes of Might and Magic?
Yes.
Oh, I actually knew the name at least, the full name.
Yeah, unlike the other heroes.
Anyway, like I was saying, very important. Split pushing DK doesn't feel like
Radiant's
DK's
bottom tower is under attack.
identity, you know? It's kind of odd. As we're going to see the high ground attempt for Gaimin. You can see Save is in the top lane, continuing to push the super creeps, so Gaimin are going to have to try to contend with that at some point as Miero jumps in with the arena. They delete Celery, that's the gem on the ground as well, and Dyrachyo is no longer a dragon. He's in human form, which means he's completely worthless. Double kill for GPK, Tofu and company able to get out.
Human Knight just doesn't sound the same, does it?
That's true.
It doesn't even sound like a hero. It sounds like, well, you're just a foot soldier.
You need something attached to the knight, like Omni, for example.
Yeah. Or Knight.
Knight,
He's not
knight?
even Human Knight. No, he's just Knight, because he lost his dragon form, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Nice engage there from Miero. I love the fact that he pre-popped BKB. He's giving them he's paying them a lot of respect there. He's like, I'm not going to give you any opportunity to catch me with a quick stun when I jump in. He's just playing it safe. And immediately isolates Pugna, which I think is what this is going to be about. Like, that is the hero BetBoom want to jump first every time. Their successful fights have largely been around killing Celery. And I guess it begs the question, is Celery out of position, right? Like, does he need to blast this tower? He doesn't have Aether Lens, right? He's gone for the bongo boots plus Vlad's build on Pugna, which I would say is quite unusual, but obviously you think about what heroes he's playing with, it makes sense. You want Vlad's for your 3 physical cores, you want the bongo boots for yourself and for the spiders, but if you get caught in an arena, the active of the Boots of Bearing is kind of useless, right? It doesn't offer you any protection.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I fully agree with the route he took with his build this game. If he has Aether Lens, he can safely push these towers and these racks if he wants to. And if he doesn't have it, maybe you just have to accept, all right, you're not blasting that tower. It's TA's job, it's Brood's job to chip it down. Dragon Knight, it's not like you're lacking forms of tower damage. That's what you have the most of, so probably needs to stand well back and be ready to decrepify.
Okay, very important update. Grab ally is now a possibility.
Oh, well, it was a possibility the entire time.
What happens when you...
Oh, you mean he got it?
Yeah,
Okay.
he got it.
Okay.
What happens when you go in there when it's on the cliff and then you come back out? Do you come down? Like, I wonder. Can we pause the game and ask Toronto Tokyo to try that for us right now? By any chance?
No, when you come out of it on top of a cliff, it's just Arteezy coming out. It's not your hero.
It's just his face plastered all over the place. Okay. Fair enough.
It's just a new model.
By the way, I learned something disturbing at the last tournament. Toronto Tokyo has been to Tokyo, but not Toronto. Isn't that weird?
Wow, that is so disturbing. That's definitely the word I would have used.
Like, it actually just ruins his entire identity for me.
You know a lot about him.
I learned a lot about him, yeah. He's a cool guy, other than not being to Toronto. Okay, anyway, moving on from this very...
When did he go to Tokyo?
I don't...
It was after he won TI, right?
I don't know.
Maybe he'll go to Toronto after he wins the next one.
Okay, that's fair. He doesn't. That's true. He doesn't have that second TI. That's what you need to go to. You need millions of dollars to go to Toronto. As a refresher is now online for Miero, so double Arena, double Hex, double BKB, and double Soul Ring, probably the most important. As a Butterfly comes out for Ace. I mean, do you at some point need to go MKB for Nightfall? I don't even know if you can fit it. It's going to go AC, so...
Yeah, I feel like the AC is just necessary for the team. The question is if he needs to buy it for them, or if they could buy this even on the Mars. Like, I think you need this Aura or Undying. Yeah, Undying is eyeing it up too, actually. So, yeah, they solved it. Okay, Toronto will get the AC, and Nightfall is going Bloodthorn. I think this is the perfect solution.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it's going to entirely solve the problem, but I think it's the best option they have in terms of itemization. So I really like this call. Or, yeah, is MKB or Thorn better? That's the bigger question here, right? Because obviously the True Strike from the Bloodthorn is really good, but you are playing against a lot of problems that could still bail them out. You've got the Grimstroke Shard, you've got Pugna Decrepify, as we've talked about many a time. So maybe the MKB is like a safer bet to just be able to stand and deliver, but at the same time the silence effect is huge against the enemy supports. Just blasting them immediately with the Thorn will be very nice. How do you think it looks with an inventory with Bloodthorn and Daedalus? How often do you see that, though? That's
yeah, that's true.
It's quite uncommon.
Now that things like Silver Edge just aren't, it's not an item anymore, apparently. I rarely see that.
All right, smoke up time for BetBoom. Roche can spawn in 5 seconds, so they want to be ahead of the curve here. Would be quite unlikely for it to spawn during the smoke, but we will know now. It actually will. A very early spawn here.
Roche cannot wait to drop another banner. Very exciting. It might have been placed, it might have not already. We don't know or care, for that matter. Smoke from both sides as the Roche off will be coming. I do not see a Roshan's banner in anyone's inventory. So it was placed and no one noticed.
Arcane Blink coming.
As always. Right, the smoke has already dissipated for BetBoom, so these illusions will scout a couple members out, including the likes of GPK on the cliff. Okay, we can see the super creeps are going to town on the tier 4s, so Gaimin are going to have to defend at some point, surely.
It's such a big luxury they have that it feels like GPK cannot be jumped first, right?
Yeah,
it's like
sure.
So hard for them to kill him, so he can really give all the...
Oh, he's going in really deep. There's the arena number 1 from Miero. The BKB's there as well. They're going to be able to get the Grimstroke, but the Suck is keeping him alive as Tofu stays alive as a result. Quinn popping the BKB, trying to do so much damage from the outside of the arena. They lose the Pugna, so both supports now dead for Gaimin. And likely the rest to fall as Dyrachyo gets ripped apart. Double kill for Nightfall. Already one tier 4 is dead in the meantime. So Gaimin lose the fight, they lose a tier 4, and they'll lose Roche, number 3.
That was a pretty good defensive play from the supports of Gaimin, but the positioning in general was just way off, right? The supports are getting jumped together, Pugna keeps Grimstroke alive, and they get some spells off, but where were the cores? Like, they're all the way off to the side. Broodmother never really participated in the fight at all. Gaimin cannot allow their supports to be jumped every single fight, and it feels like that's just been the story of the game, is Celery and Tofu have not got to play nearly as much as they usually do. And just credit to BetBoom for, first of all, identifying that that's what they need to do in every fight, but it's one thing to make the call, it's another one to constantly find the correct initiations in the moves, and they just are. The moment these two supports on the Dire side die, I just feel like everything falls apart, because sure, you've got all this physical damage, but the enemy heroes are quite tanky too at this point, right? Sven with Warcry, you've got Timber we covered. It's the supports are just way too important to be expendable.
Yep, so that will be a lane of racks in the bot, and they have a second set of Serpent Wards if he wants to pop the Refresher Shard. Save was holding on to it. Well, he gets the Hex, and Celery does take a lot of damage, but looks like GPK not able to finish the job. But the tier 3 is dead. He pops Boom Boom time, and Sven just continuing to hit away at that melee. Rex wants to run away now. The Soulbind is there. You can see the reactive armor just so tanky. There's the spear onto Dyrachyo, but pops the BKB. Gets the fireball as well, as looks like BetBoom are now on the retreat. Nightfall with the TP. Toronto Tokyo will attempt to TP in the shadows.
Not.
We'll see if he gets out.
Oh my
he died.
God. Yeah,
The Undying lives again.
Okay, they didn't even lose a hero there. Yeah, that's... Oh boy.
Yep, so 2 lanes of Rax, they lose 0 people, and they still have Aegis. And they still have... Wait, did he already use the refresher? I don't see it on anybody again. Well, he must have. Either way, BetBoom in very good position to win this.
Yeah. And as we talked about earlier, it's the old school Gaimin Gladiators lineup that was seemingly infallible half a year to a year ago when they got this kind of an early advantage. They would just coast to a victory. So it's always hard to tell whether Gaimin Gladiators are not playing as well as they were back then, or if the other teams have caught up and how much is about the patch. But like, to me, this game felt like a gimme 15 minutes in, just knowing this team's history and how they play. But BetBoom have just found a way. They navigated through the storm when the game was the hardest. They found 2 good moves to buy themselves time, get the gold, get the items, and then get a couple of Roshes. And at this point, I think Gaimin Gladiators effectively cannot have their supports die again, then it's just over. Like, these 2 heroes have to play very, very well positioned. And you need to find some sort of an angle into the fight where you get the initiation. I would say on Shadow Shaman if you can, right? Save has been completely uncontested in this game almost. Just
how do you deal with a BKB Shadow Shaman?
If you ever see him and you just blink Dragon Tail and blast him with TA, I think that's the entry. Obviously, the
problem is he's in Dragon form usually, so you have time to pop the BKB before the Dragon Tail actually connects. As Miero is there with the Spear initiation. The Arena onto 2, but Dyrachyo is only the one stuck inside. GPK reactive armor continuing to go off. Ace takes a decent amount of damage. They're going to try to reset as eventually the Tombstone is taken out. Miero, there's the refresher, Arena number 2. It's going to be the death of Tofu. He does have his buyback. Both supports have to buy back instantly as Nightfall getting very aggressive. Pops the Satanic, focusing on Quinn right now. Pops the BKB as well. Quinn will be taken out. Celery not able to suck hard enough, as it looks like this will be mega creeps for BetBoom. Nightfall trying to reposition, getting slowed perpetually by this dragon. He might be taken out, but GPK comes in, deletes Celery. And now Gaimin left to defend just the tier 4 and eventual Ancient. As Dyrachyo continuing to just play inside the Ancient. Very normal stuff for the Dragon, but it feels like this will be an inevitable loss for them. They do get saved finally, but it matters not. Their base is being consumed as the Spear there onto Ace. Oh, they have a decent amount of damage with Tofu. Can they actually defend this for now? Mega Creep's still not in tow. Still making their way over. And there's the Dragon Tail onto the Sven. Nightfall. It's going to get soulbound, but GPK again deletes yet another support with that Blink Dagger, really paying off this game as the Ancient is fully exposed. And there's the Chakram into the Stormbolt. Nightfall and company. GG's will come out as BetBoom take game number 1.
Yeah, really well played by them, right? If we want to backtrack this game a little bit, they come into the laning stage. We talk about this team generally just winning their lanes, and then it's a matter of can they bring it